Welcome back to Cooking with Chef Mark. We're here in this series of knife skills classes, which I recorded many years ago, and they've been sitting in the vault just waiting for you. You can check out the story of that right over here in this video. So we're up to lesson 4 now, which is all about dicing onions, so you can get a precise cut each and every time. And now it's time to talk about onions. Now this is probably the foundation of most cooking of the world. And so learning how to cut an onion, how to dice, slice an onion is going to be very important. This is a gorgeous one. This is a beautiful Spanish onion. And you see, now when you want to select onions, quite often, you look at the bin and there's some that are a little bit messy and junky and the skin has come off. There are many layers of the skin, so that's not a problem. But you generally do want to pick one that has a nice, even, unbroken skin if you can, because obviously that skin is protecting the beautiful onion underneath, and you see that this little bit of skin has been cut away. So this is a gorgeous onion. And now there's a lot of debate about what makes you cry when you chop an onion, and I don't know if they've ever actually determined it for sure, but definitely it's that the oils, the liquid that are in there, it burns, when it gets into your eyes. So there's a lot of different methods that people use. They talk about, cutting off the end piece, the root piece, so that it's in here that the cry stuff is. I don't think that's true, but I cut it off anyway. Other people say they just run some running water a little bit. I just you sort of let the water go. Supposedly it pulls the vapors away. They wonder why. Well, why don't chefs cry when they chop onions? Most of the time in a restaurant, it's because they've got a big giant hood that they're working with that sucks up all the vapors. If you're in a small kitchen, you don't necessarily have that. So I would say open the window, maybe run this, but the truth is, if you use my technique and you do it really quickly, you won't have enough time to cry. All right, so you got your whole onion. There's a lot of different ways that people use to cut onions. Sometimes they'll slice straight through this way, or they'll sort of do this thing to peel it. I think that takes a lot of work, so I simply take off the end. Okay, and not too much of the flesh, but enough of that. Same thing on the top. Okay, just take that away. So now we've got this idea where we can lay it flat, and we can use the flatness to help balance it as we cut. And then I just cut it right in half, straight down the diameter. So we've got two sort of hemispheres of onion. Now for me, that makes it really, really easy to peel. You can see there's many layers of onion, but generally you can just pull away. You'll take maybe one layer away, that's it. You can pull away, and there's sometimes this little slightly slimy skin here. I try to take that off because that can make it slippery when I cut it later. So there we go, we've taken the skin off on one side, take it on the other side, okay, and there we go. So I've got my little bit of garbage there and the good stuff. So I always try to make sure that all the little bits of skin are away. So the classic dice, I'm going to show you, and it's pretty easy. So again, we got our claw. We're going to use that to balance our onion at all times. We're going to lay it on the flat end. Now here's the real trick. You see there's a core there. That's the bottom, and that sort of holds the whole onion together. We're going to use this end. So you're going to cut from the top end, which doesn't hold itself together as well. And we're going to make parallel cuts up through the onion. Okay? So again, hold your claw. Just go through. This is a big onion, so I kind of have to saw it a little bit. If I had a little more of a steady balance, a solid counter, and a smaller onion, I could just slice it right through. But you know what? You don't have to worry. Just do what you need to do. And you see I'm not cutting all the way through. You see? Let me show you the folding in there. You see there's still a little bit in there. We want to let this core hold itself together so we don't slice all the way through. Okay, we just work our way up, and I'm doing it in about 1/4 inch slices, you see? There, and then the last little bit, okay? And you can use your palm or just your fingertips or hold it back here. But either way, I don't want to be holding this as I slice through. So you see, I've sort of, for the purposes of showing you this, you can see I've sort of sliced through my onion, and it's all holding together really well. Now we're going to go this way. So check this out. Same thing. I'm going to start with the tip of my blade at the same spot where I ended. I'm not going to go beyond there. Okay? And this one we're just going to go straight down and through at that same sort of 1/4 or 8 inch size dice. So you see the beauty of this is that with the exception of these little pieces that fell out, the whole onion is still pretty much together. And now I'm ready for the last cut, which will give me my dice. Okay, so same thing. Here's my claw, straight down through, all the way. And you see this is a large onion, so I'm just raising the entire knife and going straight down, letting the dice fall there to the side. Now, if it were a smaller onion, or if I had a really large knife, you can do this technique where you rest the tip here on the end, and you go down all the way through. You see? Whoops, and then see what happened? That kind of popped out. That's okay. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to keep going. Okay. So I've got my dice. Now, of course, in this onion, there was a little piece in the middle that had this sort of skin little bit. We're just going to put that to the side. But look, for the most part, we've got our nice, beautiful dice, and we only had to make 3 cuts. We made our horizontal cut, our vertical cut, and then our little dice cut. So you've got little pieces here. Now, I've seen a lot of chefs, they throw this bit away. They don't want to be bothered cutting that little bit. But you know, that's onion, right? It's still in there. It's still good. It'll serve you in your recipe, so you may as well use it. So here's what I'll do. The only piece I'm not going to use is this fine core here. I'm going to use the rest of it. But see, I've still got some slices there. So I can just run it through this way until I get to the core, turn it, until I get to the core, turn it around this way, and slice until I get to the core. And that's the only piece I'm going to throw away. In fact, look, there's still a little bit there that I can use. Okay, that gets thrown away. The rest of this, I put it in, these are my ugly pieces, put them in a pile, and just run my knife through. I showed you my dicing technique. Now we're going to do this other onion, and we're going to do this sort of half moon slivers that are really great for stir fry or for other kinds of uses. So take the top and the bottom, and you see that just goes away like that. Slice it in half along the equator, as it were. Take off my outer layers there, nice and clean. Okay, beautiful. That one came out really well. And this all just goes in the garbage. I've got my 2 sort of hemispheres of onion now, and I want those little half moon shapes. Now I'm going to keep this all together, and I'm going to go along, and see the onion already has natural ridges. Onions sort of make themselves easy to cut because they give you all kinds of lines to work with. So I'm going to go sort of along those ridges. Okay. At an angle, and cut this way. And again, I'm using my claw, I'm using the edge of my knuckle there to give me a guide, and I'm moving along about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch each time. You can make them different lengths if you want. Just turn it to the side. Again, move my knife at an angle, raise it up, and go. And now this last little bit is a little thick, but you know what? We can either we can do this, or, lots of ways of doing it, or you can just have some larger pieces. And the beauty here, you see a lot of these are still together, then all you do is you kind of wiggle waggle it a little bit, break them up. These are from the center of the onion, so I can set those aside. And there we go. We've got our lovely, beautiful half moon shapes, and I'm not even crying, you see? I went through that really fast, and I'm not crying, and I've got these beautiful, this will be great in a stir fry. You know what? The other technique for helping you to avoid crying, wear contact lenses. It really helps. Now you know how to dice an onion perfectly.
Our next lesson is all about root vegetables, and they're those hard vegetables, and I'll show you a safe way of cutting them into julienne and dice and brunoise. So look for that on the next lesson, and you can subscribe to my entire channel at Remarkable Palate here on YouTube, and hey, check out that video. That's a different one. See you later.